What's up everyone? I hope all of you are doing fantastic. It's been a wonderful couple days here in Toronto. The weather's been crazy. I have a bunch of good news to share with you guys. First and foremost, this is going to be my last day here at this condo in downtown. I mean, I'll be staying downtown, but in this specific condo, I'm saying goodbye to this place after 3 wonderful years. I purchased a new place back in December and it was under renovations, and the renovations are finally done, and I purchased furniture and I can't wait to show you guys that place. Share with you also the progress I made then, the before and afters, all that exciting stuff. The second set of really good news is that this video is sponsored by Professional Photographers of America, and as a member you get so many benefits, including equipment insurance, you get educational videos and educational kind of resources, and you also get a lot of other resources that really help improve your business, such as their tools and obviously their community. Now, before we get into the gist of all that, I want to talk to you guys about today's video. We're talking about editing your portrait images, and I want to show you guys how I approach editing my portraits, specifically on Lightroom and Photoshop. This is going to be a really fun video. It's going to be a breeze. You guys ready? Let's get to action. Okay, so I have my laptop out and Lightroom is already opened up. These are the portraits we're going to be working with. We have some portraits of my friend Bettina, we have some of Sarah, Tevita, Max, and one and only Peter McKinnon. Now, the first thing I usually do with every single portrait I work with is I apply my preset, and in this case, we have one called New York Bonus, which I'm going to be providing you guys with a copy for free, because I'm such a nice person. So you're going to download that, it's in the description below, so just find the link, download it, and you can follow along with the video. So once you have the preset applied, in most cases, you're going to obviously have to go and tweak specific things. Now, the first thing I usually do when I apply a preset is right away gravitate towards temperature to make sure that it actually looks like what it's supposed to. So we're going to begin with this image of my friend Max, and we're going to just bring down the temperature slightly. As you can see, this is more true tone than it was the warmer tone. Once you have found the true tone and the temperature for your image and your white balance makes sense, you're going to dive right into the editing. Now with portraits, I focus on various different things, but the very first thing I jump into is usually the eyes. After the eyes, I focus on sharpening the image and specific areas of the image, and then I will go and actually start editing the skin. Once you're done that, you're kind of close to the final product. Obviously, we'll be jumping into Photoshop at some point, but the most and bulk of the actual editing process is done on Lightroom. So now that you have your image up, you're gonna zoom into the eyes and we're gonna start tweaking things. The first thing I usually do is I just go over each eyeball. We're gonna increase the exposure, we're gonna sharpen a little bit and pump up the clarity. That's the first thing we're going to do with the brush tool. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the iris and we're just going to go over it, and we're going to bring up the saturation and cool it down, because my friend Max has extremely blue eyes, and unfortunately sometimes in photos they don't show well, but we're going to sharpen, pump up the clarity, give it some exposure and some contrast. The next thing we're going to do is use the brush tool again. This time we're going to the pupil, that's that black part in the middle, and we're going to do a circle just around the iris, just like this, and both eyes. And what you're going to do is you're going to gently pull down the exposure and give it some contrast and sharpen it a little bit. As you guys can see, the eyes are now popping. It's crazy what just small little changes and edits and tweaks with the brush tool can make to your image. This is one example, so we're going to go to another photo. Say, let's jump into this one of my friend Sarah. The actual preset's been already applied. I'm going to cool it down just slightly. what I usually do is I take the brush tool again. We're gonna remove that because we don't need it, but it was cool. We're gonna take the brush tool and we're gonna sharpen key areas of the face. The first area I usually do is the nose, the lips, the chin, top of the head, the hair right here, the lining, and then the eyebrows. These are the most important distinguishing parts of the face that are usually closest to the camera that need to be sharpened. The rest I don't really bother with too much. I like when there is some sort of smoothness or buttery look to an image. After you're done that, you're gonna pull back just to see how it looks. And I mean, it's pretty simple. Other details that you can really do is manipulate the sunglasses to just give it a lot more kind of character. So it's usually the eyes, but in this case it's the sunglasses. And similar to the image of Max, you can do the same thing where you're sharpening key areas. The nose, the eyebrows, top of the head, but in this case he's wearing a hat and you can't see his mouth, so that's fine. Just make sure your things are all equal and just sharpen gently. There you have it. I want to quickly stop right here and talk to you guys about the Professional Photographers of America. And as a member, not have I only been able to really sharpen my photography skills, but I've also been able to utilize all their amazing business information and really improve my business as a whole. For a low monthly price, you get $15,000 worth of equipment insurance. This is crazy. This is a great way to really protect your equipment and make sure that you're getting covered in case of any emergencies. They also provide data loss recovery services, which is crucial if you shoot commercial work and special events. They have over 900 educational videos teaching you about several different things related to photography. They also provide tons of small business resources. These are contracts, business planning, you name it. When you become a PPA member, you get access to Imaging USA with your first year of membership. This is the world's largest photography convention and expo, which is set for 2021 in Dallas, Texas. How fun would that be? There are also tons of other benefits which come from being a PPA member, 100% making it worthwhile for you. This is a community that started in 1869 by photographers in order to create a vibrant community of professional photographers. Take a look at the link in my description to get $25 off of your PPA membership. When you're dealing with skin tones, it's a completely different thing, right? So we're gonna apply the preset just like that. And we want to make sure that the skin tones are consistent. And the best way to do this is to go down to your color wheels and you're going to just play around with the skin tones that are already apparent, the color. So you get usually reds, you get some oranges and some yellows in the skin tone. And you can really change and edit the skin tone. Like in this area right here where her chest is, it's kind of red, and if you desaturate, you'll see that it kind of goes in out. So that area, I want to kind of make sure that it's similar to the face. And the best way to do that is just take the hue and just pull it slowly towards one end. As you can see, it starts to fade out. And with the orange tone, you can kind of do a similar thing. And as you can tell with this image, there's probably abundance of yellow, but we're not going to desaturate that because otherwise you're going to get everything else in the image kind of disappearing. But this is a very useful technique that I do when I'm dealing with skin tones. It's a good way to practice, you know, the removal of certain blemishes, sometimes acne scars, whatever it might be. It's a good way to like kind of melt the skin and give it one kind of consistent tone. Now with Peter's pictures, you can see there's one consistent tone there, so we don't have to worry about it. But a lot of times when you're editing skin pigments, you get blemishes on people's faces and they're sometimes hard to remove, or you get dark spots. The best way to remove those is using the color tools and really playing around with the hues and specifically focusing on the red, orange, and yellow tones. Now, once I have, you know, done the eyes, in this case here as an example, I've finished the eyes, I've sharpened certain key parts of the image, and I've also went ahead and made sure the skin tones are consistent. What I'm going to start doing is use the spot removal tool. And with the spot removal tool, you're just going to remove areas that, you know, there's blemishes, some acne, whatever it might be. Luckily, my friend Max has really good skin, lucky guy. But the spot removal tool is a great way to really make these changes. And what happens afterwards is that you export your image and you can go into Photoshop and really start to manipulate the skin even further. As an example, we'll use this image of my friend Bettina. Export the image. Once you have Photoshop opened up, there's a couple techniques I use for cleaning up the skin of a person. The first is using the clone tool. It's a very popular tool to use, similar to the spot removal tool in Lightroom, but with this one you get a lot more control. And the idea is you want to make sure that you decrease the opacity of the actual brush itself. That way you're not really manipulating the skin too much. Remember, you're copying one area and putting it on another area. If you don't want to use the clone tool, another really cool trick is to actually apply grain to your images. Say this image of my friend Sarah. I'm not too sure if you see any blemishes or anything like that, but you'll notice that when you apply your preset, I'll just do it quickly, increase the exposure. When you give the image grain, you actually end up melting the skin as well. You're creating another surface over the image that helps remove spots and really remove the roughness of the skin as well. It allows the image to feel a lot more smoother, cleaner, and it's a great way again to work with the skin if you don't want to use Photoshop or have to use the spot removal tool excessively. So we're gonna jump to my friend Peter's photo here, and once you've done your crop, what you want to do is go to your image and really try to find the focus points. Now obviously I have a main subject, so he needs to be exposed, but for the surrounding area I really enjoy kind of decreasing the exposure levels, giving it more contrast. This way you get the person to start popping out in the image much more. It's a very simple technique I've been using for a very long time. I know that it almost looks like a vignette, but it isn't, because what you're actually doing is choosing specific areas, and most vignettes is kind of just like full circles. But here you're kind of selecting the key areas that can make one area sharper than the other. And doing so, you're adding more emphasis onto particular parts of the image. Another very useful technique is to take your brush tool and you're gonna apply it to the surrounding areas, and you're gonna decrease the sharpness. Now you're giving it that smooth look, and you get that really nice kind of transition between your subject and the background. So this is the before and after of Peter. As you can tell, there's certain emphasis made on key parts of the image. He's much more in clarity. I would go further in and probably just give him a lot more exposure on his face. You don't want to seem unrealistic because he is hiding underneath an umbrella. So that's about it for really editing portraits of anyone. The key is to make sure that once you've applied your preset and you've stylized the image, is to go in and really define the person's features. This is the eyes, the skin, making sure that key areas are sharpened, and making sure that also there's a lot of emphasis on your subject and less on the background. These are the ways that I've really improved the quality of my portraits and try to make the person in the image stand out as much as possible. After that is just simply exporting the image, cleaning it up on Photoshop, removing certain things, fixing up the skin and blemishes, using different types of tools, healing brushes, you can use clone tools, but it's very simple. You take it step by step, but with the preset and the help of the preset, you'll be able to get the first step started. So make sure you do that and apply the changes necessary afterwards. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It's been a lot of fun showing you guys different techniques I use to really improve my portrait images. I know that you guys probably have other questions on how I approach editing different types of images, so leave that in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys want me to edit next. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I can't urge that anymore, but subscribe so that you can continue seeing videos like this, and I'll see you guys all very soon. Peace!